Hi, English 11A students. This is a video explaining how to um, complete the English 11A Project 1. But also, what I'm going to do is walk you through a tool that I created to help you with the project. There's tons of different project instructions, and it goes all the way through 3 units. So it's quite a long project. And so I created a document to help you work through all of the steps and information that the units contain about the project. And if you fill this out, then you have the option of actually not writing the paper. So what I'm going to do in this video is just walk you through this workflow that I created, explaining how to do it. And then you can use this tool to either have an option for the project or get extra credit on the project. So the first thing that's really important in English, and this is for all of the documents that I share with students in my classes, if you want to view a document in English, you have to be signed into your school email account. So if you're not signed into your school email, you won't be able to open it. It'll say request access. If it says that, you just remember, oh, I need to go log into my school email, and then you'll have access. If you want to type in any of the documents that I share with you, you actually have to make your own copy. So that's super easy, and then it'll put it in your Google Drive. It'll be there forever unless you delete it. So you just go here to File, and then make a copy. It'll pop up a little window, and then you would put your name here. So I would put my last name and then say okay, and then it puts it in your drive, and now you have a copy you can type on. So if you're trying to type on a document in my class and you're not able to, and it says view only, that is because if you started typing on it, everybody else in the whole entire, well, for as long as I use this document, they would see the information that you were typing on that document. So that's why it's kind of frozen. But all you have to do to type in it is, again, click File and make a copy, and then you have one that you can work in. Okay, so for the first project, it starts in Unit 1 and you submit it in Unit 3. So it goes for 3 units. You kind of go step by step. And I have created this workflow to help you complete the project and learn all of the information, but also to give you an option to do the workflow instead of writing the paper. So if writing papers is something that's really challenging for you, then in this workflow, you kind of do all the preliminary work for writing a paper, but you don't actually sit down and write the essay. So the alternative option is to fill this document out completely and submit it in Unit 3 instead of writing the paper. Now, keep in mind, it has to be completely filled out. It's not super hard. It's just step by step. But you have to fill it all out, and you have to fill it out correctly. And by correctly, I just mean you have to follow all the instructions and do all the tasks. If you are a person who's fine with writing papers, but you like extra credit, you can also fill this out completely and submit it in Unit 3 with your research paper, and I'll give you a 10% boost on your project grade. So when I grade your research paper, if I give you an 85 on the paper, you'll get a 95 in the grade book. If you get a 100, you'll get 110. If you get a 60, you'll get a 70. So you get the idea. So that's an extra credit option. And that's something that some of you, sometimes people at the end of the quarter are looking for ways to boost their grades. That is something you could do if you had previously done the workflow or the research paper and you took the grade for that. You could come back in and do the other part. So let's say you turn the workflow in, you're like, I want my grade to be higher. Then I would say, well, go ahead and write the essay, and then you'll get a higher grade. So that's another option for you. Okay, this is really important, and if you've been in one of my classes before, this will be new, but it's a change that I just have to make for my own personal sanity. So this is for topics for both of the projects in my class. Instead of a list of topics that you can choose from, I'm giving you a list of topics that you can't choose. So what I'm saying is there's hundreds and millions and thousands and trillions and cajillions of topics that you could write a research paper on, but you may not write it on immigration, abortion, vaccines, gun control, gun rights, legalizing marijuana. And the reason for that is those are like some of the more common papers that I've read. And I've just read so many now that it's just really hard for me to kind of come with a fresh eye to a paper that's on one of those topics. And often people find sources that aren't credible for those topics. And then I have to give, you a lower grade, and because you don't have good sources. So I prefer that you just stay away from all of those, but then the whole rest of the world is open to you for a research topic. Remember that this is a research essay, so you're writing to learn and teach about a topic. You're not making an argument in this one. So if you have something that's kind of more controversial or something that you have a strong feeling about, wait until the second project of the course for that topic, because that's the point of the next paper, is an argument essay that you use research to support your views. So this one is more like you're learning and teaching about something. So it's a more neutral research paper. I mean, it's still fine to have an argument and an opinion about it, but this one is more like, let's see, people have written about different types of cattle. People in the unit, they talk about environmental concern, like pollution and recycling. You could choose one of those, but it's just something that you want to learn more about. And I would say, pick something you're interested in, but that you don't already know everything about. So you're kind of interested in the process. And the ones that really are often the best papers are ones that are kind of local to where you are, something that's come up in your area, or something that you're interested in your own life. And often those are really good topics. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go lesson by lesson where this is going to show up. So project 1 first shows up in lesson 4. And in lesson 4, you will think about your topic, and the lesson is going to give you lots of helpful information about how to come up with topics and then turn them into research questions. So you want a question that will drive your research. So when you've kind of gone through all the steps of the lesson, then you're going to give me, I'm just clicking over into the lesson, then you're going to write a research question. So this time of year, I'm often thinking about wildfires. So your question might be, what is the worst time of year? Like, what month is the worst month for wildfires? Or where in the world are wildfires the most destructive, or something like that. I mean, I'm just coming up with that off the top of my head, but that's often something that I'm thinking about this time of year. I'm just going to show you where you'll first see this. So this just talks about what a research paper is for, and then how to formulate your question. So you want a question that you can answer. So they kind of focus on environmental topics, but you don't have to do that. But if you're completely lost, then you might want to stick with the area that they're talking about. And then they just kind of walk you through how to narrow down your topic. So when you have done that, write your research question and paste it in right here, or write it here, and be sure to use a question mark because it's a question. In lesson 5, you'll start looking for sources. So in this section, I want you to just give me web links of 10 possible, I'm missing a number, of 10 sources that you could use in your paper. They might be ones you end up discarding, but just like, oh yeah, this one might be a good one. Okay, so you just a list of 10 books or websites, and you can just copy and paste the link in. That's fine if you want. And then you will give me a little sample of research notes. So you need a minimum of 5 sources with notes. You can either type the notes here. If you have a separate document where you're taking notes, you can just give me the link to that document. If you take notes by hand, just give me a photo of your notes. Make sure that you have at least 5. And then keep in mind that copying, pasting information is not note taking. So if you give me the web link, like I've done here, this is my example. So here's a website that I went to learn about wildfires. And I just copied and pasted that link in. But this writing right here is my writing. So the notes can't be copied and pasted information. They need to be your writing of what information you found at that source. And you need 5 of those. And one sentence is fine. In lesson 6, you'll be kind of evaluating your sources. So you'll be looking really critically at the source and saying, is this reliable information? Is this an organization that is trustworthy? Is this an individual who's just like giving their opinion? That wouldn't really be a good basis for a research paper. You need evidence that will hold up, so you can't just find someone who agrees with you. That's not good research. So you want to narrow down to 5 sources that if you were going to write the essay, or if you are going to write the essay, that you would actually use. And then after each source, write a sentence explaining why this would be a credible and reliable source of information and how it connects to your research question. So again, you'll have the source. You can just do the web link there. And then a sentence that explains why this is a good source and how it connects to your research question. Then using one of these 5 sources, you're going to show how you would use that source in the paper. So there's 3 different ways you can use sources in a paper. You can paraphrase, summarize, or directly quote a source. So paraphrasing is where it's almost like a word for word translation of the person's work into your own original writing. So again, it's not copying and pasting. It's you explaining exactly like all the content of the section that you've taken. So if it's a couple of sentences, then your summary or your paraphrase will be a couple sentences. A summary is a more condensed version. So you're not matching sentence for sentence what the source is saying. And then direct quotes is copied and pasted information, but you need to put quotation marks around it to show, hey, I'm directly borrowing this from the person because they wrote it so well. It's so much better than mine. I'm going to use it, but here are the quotation marks so that you know that I know it's not my own writing. And then after each one of these, you'll do an in-text citation. And that's what they look like this. They're not web addresses. It's just either the author's last name or the name of the publication or the website. And so you'd have your paraphrase here, and then at the end, so if I was paraphrasing this source up here, my source would be Oregon Live. So I'd summarize the information or paraphrase the information, and then I'd have, Oregon Live, parenthesis, and then a period at the end. And that's for each one of these, numbers 1, 2, and 3. And often this is where people mess up on here. So if I send it back and say you don't have in-text citations, that's what you need to do. In lesson 7, you're going to focus on how to create a works cited list. I also have great videos about that in the project roadmap that I'll share with you in lots of different places, little short videos. There's a website called Citation Machine that will make your citations for you. It's super easy to use. So here you will either give me a link to your Google Doc that is your works cited page, and make sure that you go into the share settings. You go like this, share, copy link, and make sure it says anyone with the link can view, or I won't be able to open it. So if you just copy this link right here up here, you just go like this, I won't have access. I'll get your link and it'll say request access. And that's annoying because then I can't grade your paper. So both of us have to wait. So make sure you adjust the share settings when you share. And then you can put the link to your works cited page right here. You have to have 5 sources, or you can just paste your list in. So it would take up more space and be like that, which is totally fine. Either one. In lesson 8, you're focusing on how you can use technology to do your paper and graphic aids that you could include. And graphic aids are just pictures, charts, photographs, graphs that support your research question. So you're just going to give me 2 types of technology that you could use in writing your paper and how you would use them, and then just paste in 2 graphics that connect to your topic. In lesson 9, and by the way, this is the last thing that you have to do for the workflow, because then you start writing the paper. In lesson 9, you're going to make sure that your thesis statement is written well, because that's going to drive the whole organization of your paper and what you use in your paper and what you don't use. So you're going to focus on that thesis statement and then setting up the organization of your paper, which is in an outline. So for the workflow, you need to type in your thesis statement right here. It's a complete sentence with a capital and a period. And then in another document or in this document, do your outline. And I'm pretty open to whatever outline form you want to use. It just can't be like a full-on list of topics. So have a little bit of structure. But this lesson includes lots of information about different kinds of organizational structures. Then if you're going on to write the paper, in lesson 10, you'll focus on the rough draft. In lesson 11, you will revise for the ideas of your paper. So does the thesis statement connect to the paragraphs? Is all the evidence connected to your thesis? Like just, does it make sense? Then in lesson 12, you'll focus on the style of your paper. So have you used a variety of words? Have you used some complex sentences? Do you have good transitions between the paragraphs? And last but not least, in lesson 13, you will edit for spelling, punctuation, grammar, and plagiarism. So 2 things that I would say happen a lot. First of all, no one should have anything misspelled because we have spell check. So run a spell check. People sometimes write their papers the way they write text messages, and that's not appropriate. So capital letters for names, capital letters at the beginning of sentences, and capital letter for the word I needs to happen. And then periods at the end of sentences needs to happen. And then make sure that you don't have any information in your paper that you have copied and pasted from a website. It's super obvious when students do that. All I have to do is highlight the part when I'm reading your paper that I'm like, ooh, that doesn't sound like Joe's writing. I just copy it and put it in a Google search and it'll show me the website where you copied it. It's extremely reliable. I've graded probably 100,000 essays in the time that I've been teaching. So I just kind of have a sense of that. And plagiarized material really sticks out in an essay. So just don't do it. If you find something that you just really like how they said it, put it in quotation marks and give them an in-text citation. That's fine. Be sure any evidence in your paper that anytime you use evidence in your paper that you have an in-text citation, right where you use it, and then make sure it's in the works cited list. And the same thing goes the other way. If it's in your works cited list, there better be an in-text citation there in the paper. So don't have something in the works cited list that I can't see where you used it in the paper. And then you submit your paper. So again, this is just to kind of help you like work through the tasks. In the instructions in the course, it'll have something like this. It'll say, save your list of sources and research in a document on your computer. Your teacher may ask you to submit your work for this activity. So basically it'll say this a number of times as you work through in all of these lessons. So what I did is I just kind of connected all those tasks in one document that you can either use, remember, you can use it as an alternative option. So you can do this instead of writing the paper, or you can write the paper and use this for extra credit. Up to you. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions as you're working on your paper, just send me an IM or email me, give me a call. I'm here to help. And just keep in mind that sometimes students submit these and they aren't completely done, or they've made a mistake, and you're always welcome to get it back and fix it and resubmit. The goal is for you to get the best grade that you can possibly get. So don't feel like if you get it back and I say, hey, you didn't do the section of lesson 6, you need to do that, then just do it and resubmit. Nothing's ever final until the course closes. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that the project goes well for you.